I call to order the August 2nd, 2016 meeting of the Arvada Planning Commission. Ms. Brown, would you please call the roll?
Brandon Caswell. David Roth.
Present.
Steve Hannon.
Here.
John Sullivan.
Here.
John Kraus.
Here.
T.O. Owens.
Here.
Patricia Connell.
Here.
The chair moves to excuse Ms. Caswell from the meeting. Commissioners, please cast your votes. Oh. Display. The main screen isn't up, but that passes 6-0, all commissioners present voting in favor. You need to get that up. Should I move on? Or do you want me to wait until you get that up? Okay. The minutes of the June 21st, 2016 meeting have been submitted for approval. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? There being no corrections, the minutes stand approved as printed. Moving on to general business, there are no general business items to discuss this evening, and there are also no report items to discuss this evening. Would you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Moving on to petitions and communications. This is a time when anyone may address the commission regarding items that are not listed as public hearings on tonight's agenda. The public hearing on tonight's agenda is the Connolly's Towing rezoning. Additionally, we would ask that you would hold your comments regarding any application that has been filed with the city or which is likely to be filed with the city until the public hearing on those items, where we will welcome your comments. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to address the commission regarding anything else? No. All right, so moving on to public hearings. At this time, I'd like to explain the procedure for public hearings. The applicant will be given the opportunity to make a presentation. After the presentation, I will ask those in favor of the applicant to speak, and then those in opposition. The applicant will then be given an opportunity for rebuttal if appropriate. After all testimony has been heard, the public input portion of the hearing will be closed and questions will be taken from the Planning Commission. I would now like to swear in anyone who wishes to speak in any public hearing matter before this commission tonight. Please raise your right hand, and I will swear you all in now. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in matters before this commission is the truth and nothing but the truth? If so, please answer I do. Thank you. You may be seated. All right, the hearing on tonight's agenda is Z2016-004, Connolly's Towing rezoning. Staff, are there any posting or notification requirements?
Yes, there were 3 forms of notice that was required. They were required to put a sign on the property, and we do have the posting log for that. They also had to do a mailing, and we have the affidavit of mailing, and that is in order. And we had to do a publication in the newspaper, which staff took care of. So all posting requirements are met and in order.
All right. Thank you. The staff report, posting log, and affidavit of mailing are made a permanent part of the record. Are there any additions or corrections to the staff report?
No, there are not.
Is there a representative of is staff going to give us an overview, or are we going to jump right into the applicant presentation?
I can give you a quick summary. So this request is for rezoning of a small parcel of land owned by Connolly's Towing. They have 2 parcels of land, as you can see on the exhibit. There's a small parcel that we're talking about this evening that's zoned I-1, and the parcel next to it on the south and east is zoned CCA. And they're wanting to redevelop the property, so they're proposing to rezone the smaller parcel to CCA, so it all has the same zoning, the same building requirement, designations, etc. So staff is in support of this request, and it is in compliance with the comp plan.
Is there a representative of the applicant present? Would you please step to the podium, state your name, give us the spelling of it, please, and your address for the record, and then you may proceed when you're ready.
Thank you. My name is John Conley. Conley, C-O-N-N-O-L-L-Y. Conley's Towing. We're basically looking to rezone that little piece of land so that we can put a larger building on it, and that larger building is going to actually go across the two property lines. So we'll have to get the zoning corrected and then get the two parcels put together so that we can do that. That's it.
All right, thank you. Is there anybody, members from the public who wish to speak in favor of the application? Is there anybody who wishes to speak against the application? All right, that being the case, I don't think that there's any need for rebuttal. I will now open it to the public and close it from the public and move on to the Planning Commission. Are there any questions or comments from the Commission? Mr. Kraus.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a quick question for staff. I know we've talked about at some point in the future reducing the number of zoning districts, particularly some of the ones that are less used. Moving, and I think this to CCA is the most expeditious thing here, but long term, do you see this probably moving to an I2 as we consolidate, or just curious?
Yeah, we will be evaluating zone districts as part of the whole land development code update, and we hope to start that at the beginning of the year, and so that will be part of the process at that time.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments from the Commission? Seeing none, is there a motion? Mr. Kraus.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move that Z 2016-0004, Connolly's Towing rezoning from City of Arvada I-1 Light Industrial to CCA Clear Creek District A at 5740 West 60th Avenue be recommended to City Council for approval. This motion is based on the findings of fact and the approval criteria on pages 4 and 5 of the staff report.
Is there any discussion of the motion? Mr. Kraus.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was just going to say, as a person whose newest car is 23 years old and having Connolly's on speed dial, I absolutely support this application and wish them well.
All right. We'll count that as a disclosure as well, maybe. Sure. Seeing no other requests, please cast your votes. And now the screen's working. 6-0. All commissioners present voting in favor of the application. So probably less time than you spent preparing for the presentation. But certainly seems like a decent project, and I'm sure you already know how to work with staff, but just continue to work with them and they'll get you to the next step to City Council and so on and so forth. All right, moving on to other items. Staff, are there any other items to consider this evening?
Just wanted to update you that your next meeting will be on August 16th, and there will be 2 items there. One is a joint workshop at 5:30, and that will be with the BOA, and that's to discuss the sign code update. And then there will be 1 case on the 6:30 public hearing agenda, and that is an alternative sign program for the Arvada Marketplace.
Okay, thank you. We are adjourned.